Hey, you're listening to the Riverdale Podcast. This is episode number 75. My name is Jonathan. Welcome to lovely Riverdale, USA. This is a weekly Archie Comics fan podcast. We update every Saturday morning, and every week we break things down into 4 categories. The first category is the book of the week. That is the comic book I read this week. Sometimes it's a new comic book, sometimes it's an old comic book, but it's always an Archie comic book. We move then to the news of the week. That's what happened in the world of Archie in the week since our last podcast. We move then to new releases. That's what came out this past Wednesday. What will be coming up this coming Wednesday from Archie Comics. We're going to wrap things up today and head back in time to last weekend's Boston Comic Con. We're going to talk to Jeff Schultz. We're going to start off the episode talking with John Troughton about this week's book of the week. Let's get right to it. All right, this week's book of the week is Kevin Keller, number 10. A brand new issue came out just this past Wednesday. And this is the big Kevin's First Kiss issue, which was announced, it seems like months ago at this point. And we've been looking forward to seeing this issue. And it was back in episode number 64. I talked to John Troughton, who's a big Archie Comics fan and a blogger, and had blogged about the what have you, the hoopla around Kevin Keller getting to kiss his boyfriend in Archie Comics. So now we have the issue, and I wanted to invite John back to talk about what he thought of it, what I thought of it, and review the issue today. So, John Troughton, welcome back to Riverdale, USA.
Thanks for having me back.
So now that we have the issue in our hands, what is your initial reaction? What do you think of the issue?
I thought that the kiss itself, I thought was basic kiss. There's a little kind of peck on between the two boys. The issue I thought heavy-handed. It was the words I wrote down. It was kind of a moralizing story. The one side versus the other, and there wasn't really a lot of room in there to decide for people to figure out how they felt about things. You kind of knew where things were, which side you should be on, or at least which side the Riverdale gang was on.
Yeah, I got the impression, I guess, for a little bit of background, the issue of the issue is that a woman sees Kevin kissing his boyfriend Devin in Pop Tate's chocolate shop and gets very, very upset. And
she's very angry.
And so I guess the problem that I had with the issue is that she was the only one with that opinion, and everyone else in the entirety of Riverdale was sort of was against her. Well,
there was other moms in it. These other kind of nameless moms, and they were all very angry. But yeah, it was pretty much her versus everybody. And so yeah, it was when I'd read the solicits, the description of the title.
Yep.
I kind of had envisioned that there might be more of a debate amongst maybe the kids within Riverdale, like maybe they like Kevin, but they're uncomfortable maybe with some of the public displays of affection that he might have display with Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even some of the parents of some of the Riverdale teens might have some objections. Maybe they didn't realize their kid was hanging with a gay teen, or maybe they're, a lot of times it's not necessarily the kids. I'm a gay parent, so sometimes it's not the kids that have a problem with me as a gay parent. It's sometimes the other the parents of the kids. The kids kind of roll with it a lot of times, I've found. So I thought, maybe it would be Betty's mom would have a problem, or one of the lodges or something like that. But yeah, it was just kind of the one angry mom versus Riverdale.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, it was sort of an anonymous mom. It's a character we've never seen before.
And probably won't see again.
No,
That'd
probably.
be interesting if we did.
Yeah, it would be interesting if she became a character in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like, Jughead has his that league of women that hate him. Maybe Kevin will have his own little league of moms.
I just thought it was interesting that sort of all of the characters in Riverdale, I guess there was space there to have a conversation, or space there for, as you said, shades of gray or different opinions. And it seemed that all of the characters in Riverdale were speaking with the same voice.
Yeah, and like even Pop Tate. I mean, I understand that he was, he maybe felt outraged on Kevin's behalf, but he outright called that one mom a bigot.
Yeah.
Kicked her out and he said, "I've never kicked anybody out," and he must have forgot about all the times he kicked out Jughead for not paying his bill. But there was no shades of gray here.
Yeah, so. It was completely lost my train of thought.
The one area that was interesting, maybe the one gray area happened, maybe not with the moms and all that, but outside of Riverdale with Devin and his father, his estranged father, who'd kind of kicked him out when Devin, Kevin's boyfriend, came out to him.
Yeah, this was the subplot in the issue is Kevin's boyfriend, Devin, is going to visit his father, who is unaccepting.
Yeah. And they still never really came to reconciliation there, but at least they started talking.
That's
so
true.
I think that was probably the one I thought that was the one interesting. Well, I don't want to say the one interesting thing, but the one interesting gray area, I thought.
Yeah, and it does seem like that's going to be a continuing story throughout the series.
And I would like that. I mean, that's an interesting subplot within the series. I would like to see more of that. Can I say one of my favorite parts of this issue?
Of course.
There's this scene where, Kevin's sitting here complaining. He's, of course, for some reason, the national news are just all fascinated by this one YouTube video that Veronica put on. And so, Ellen pulls in everybody, even though Kevin doesn't want all the cameras paying attention to him and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Ellen DeGeneres is, at the school talking to people, trying to have a dialogue about, public displays of affections with teens and all that. And you've got Mr. Weatherby and Miss Grundy wearing these red marriage equality, equals the T-shirts,
Yeah, from your Facebook page to their T-shirt.
Exactly. And that one panel just made me laugh to no end. So that was the one thing that just made me crack me up. And of course, the one little girl of, you got the one little girl too with the angry mom who's definitely not of the same ilk as same opinion as her mom. That one I thought was that was kind of funny, but kind of made me roll my eyes a little bit too.
Yeah, that was a little intense. The woman who is upset with the whole thing, her daughter reads this sort of short essay about equality and how she believes in it.
And don't forget about Uncle Frank.
Yeah.
Or whatever, the gay uncle. So, like I said, I just thought it was a little heavy-handed with the message.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if nothing else, they've crossed the bridge. So now we've seen a comic book full of kisses between Devin and Kevin. I mean, I think I counted at least maybe 4 or 5 times that they kissed, if not, directly in the panel, then on a cable, a television image of them kissing,
Yep.
So, who knows? Maybe we'll start seeing more adult Kevin and his husband Clay kissing over in Life with Archie, or maybe, we'll just see more I mean, I don't want them like, fawning over each other all the time or whatever, but it would be nice to have, just kind of natural, casual kisses and stuff like that occasionally, or, you know, something that's not quite so cold between the two of them, or, where they're just kind of hanging out or maybe holding hands.
Yeah, that this sort of like, broke that wall down, so now it can be part of the
Mm-hmm.
vocabulary.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I read this issue, I got to the end and I knew that I was going to talk about it on the show, and I thought that I had finally hit that wall where I, as an adult, had to talk about a comic book made for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that usually there's something I connect with in all of these issues on a sort of like adult level, whether it's the the way it's inked or the way the pages are laid out or the way the story's written or things like that. And this for me was front to back, maybe just a great comic for kid, and that maybe I was
Yeah.
just maybe I was left out on this one as a 31-year-old dude.
And that could be.
And which is totally okay. And one of the things that I love most about Archie comics is they have such an authentic voice that they know who they're aiming towards, and they don't waver from that.
That's very true. And I mean, one thing I was thinking about when I was thinking ahead about this, Kevin's got the reputation for being the first gay teen, and there's all these firsts that are coming within here.
Mm-hmm.
But the company itself continues to kind of plug along, and I don't know how what the spoil factor timeline is for things, but I mean, there was another book within Archie Comics that came out within the last 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
That featured a pretty prominent secondary character who came out as either a lesbian or as a bisexual woman. I'm not quite sure what how she identified, but she was clearly in a same-sex relationship. And I had actually forgotten I'd bought that book, and I had it in my bag, and I, found it one day, and I read it. I was like, oh, I'd not heard anything about that.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Not even amongst the Archie people or anything like that.
Yeah, I am also. I guess I'm going to go ahead and put the blanket spoiler warning up that is that takes place in Jinx Volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jinx's mom comes out, or I don't know that she even comes out. Does she come out? She comes out to Jinx in that, I guess.
Yeah, she did, because Jinx was kind of freaking out all of a sudden because she met the girlfriend.
That's right.
And so then she was afraid people would think she would be a lesbian, and she didn't know how to relate to her mom as a lesbian, and it was a really good story. I mean, I really liked that whole book.
Yeah.
But, it came and went without anybody really batting an eye at the content of a gay character in the book, or a new gay character within the Archie universe, or just the context of the story. I mean, it's not even that she was just this minor character that was just kind of thrown in and that they were making fun of. I mean, it was she's not a major character, Jinx obviously and her core group of friends are, but she definitely is an important character within the context of the story.
And that was an important plot point within that story, for sure.
Oh, it was everything in that book related to Jinx's relationship to her mom and why things were, strained, difficult. And, you finally got this understanding of, okay, why has mom been so distant and everything? And so, I mean, I guess the point I'm bringing that up is, we had this, huge hoopla over Kevin coming out and being, Archie, creating Kevin Keller as this gay character and just even approaching the issue of homosexuality within their books and what this means for it, and is this just a one-off character? And, just knowing that, maybe we'll be seeing Jinx's mom kissing, or, we'll see, future type things where it just won't be that big of a deal. Clay and Kevin, who knows what they might be doing in subsequent issues of Life with Archie,
Oh,
so the kisses, it hit that wall down, and now we'll see where it goes from there, I guess.
Yeah, so before we get too far along, of course, the script and pencils are by Dan Parent. The inks are by Rich Kozlowski. Letters by Jack Morelli. Colors by Digicore Studios. That is the book of the week, Kevin Keller, number 10. Was there any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I will say it wasn't my least favorite. I mean, I feel like I've been overly negative about it.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite of the Kevin Keller books, but it wasn't my least favorite. So, and there's definitely some things that made me chuckle, and sometimes even the moralizing makes me chuckle. So, it was a fun book. I'd encourage you guys to check it out.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. As I said, I think when I got to the end of it, I thought, there is a great book for a kid coming up. Um, it's definitely what I kept thinking about was when I first heard "Born This Way" by Lady Gaga, and I was talking to some friends about it, and that has a really sort of over the top, like, I'm different and I'm proud kind of message. And my friend didn't like it, and what I said to him was, that is the best song that somebody's ever heard. like somebody is going to hear that song and be like hugely empowered and affected, and maybe that's someone young, maybe that's someone old, but maybe it is, in that instance, probably a younger kid. And in this instance, I would also say probably a younger kid is going to read this and find something that they find empowering in it, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that is the book of the week, Kevin Keller, number 10. Thanks, John, for being a part of the show this week.
Thanks for having me back again. It was fun.
Coming back and lending your opinion. Everybody head over to johntrouton.blogspot.com. Check out all of John's blogging about poodles and Archie comics and what else? Give us the rundown.
Oh, I write about everything from, usually it's a lot of Iowa-related stuff, which I'm sure everybody from other states appreciate. A lot of gay topics, marriage issues, some cultural stuff, a lot of comic book stuff, a lot of poodle stuff.
Cool.
And basically, I try to have fun with it.
And they can follow you on Twitter as well?
Yes, at John Trouton.
Awesome.
Twitter, yeah, at John Trouton.
Cool, and I'll have that linked over at RiverdalePodcast.com. So head over there and follow the links to John's blog and his Twitter feed. And thanks again for being part of the show.
Not a problem. Thanks a lot.
All right, in Archie news this week, we're right back where we started. The big news of the week is the Kevin Devin kiss. This was picked up by a lot of places in various small ways. I guess there were a few larger articles, but nothing as major as Dan Parent's interview over on Huffington Post Live. This is a brief interview. It was midday, I believe, last Tuesday, and I thought this was particularly notable because it was mainstream press, Huffington Post. People go there for their news for certain, and also because within the interview, Dan Parent specifically talks about 1 Million Moms, and specifically talks about this being a direct reaction to them. Obviously, 1 Million Moms was the organization that came out against the Kevin Clay marriage issue, Life with Archie number 16, I guess. And so he really called it out, as he has in prior issues. In prior interviews, has talked about the fact that boycott brought a lot of eyes to the issue and a lot of sales to the issue. And in this interview, he not only mentions that, but he mentions that he wrote this issue is sort of in retaliation for all of that. So you can watch that interview streaming online. Head over to RiverdalePodcast.com, and in the post for this episode, we'll have a link directly to that. Go check it out, see what you think. That's the news of the week. Dan Parent over on Huffington Post Live. All right, new releases. New releases for this past Wednesday, August the 7th, are Jughead Double Digest number 195 for $3.99. The aforementioned and much discussed Kevin Keller number 10 for $2.99, and Mega Man number 28 for $3.99. Coming up this coming Wednesday from Archie, we're going to get Archie and Friends Double Digest number 30 for $3.99, and the Best of Archie Comics Volume 3 for $9.99. Those are, of course, the big, thick 400-page, 350-page, gigantic collections of old school Archie stuff, as well as modern Archie stuff. A whole host of stuff from the full 70-plus years of Archie history. You'll definitely want to check that out. On the digital side of things, on the Archie Comics app and over at digital.archiecomics.com, you'll find the brand new digital exclusive Jughead Jones Private Eye. This is a 100-plus page digital exclusive for $3.99, and this contains a bunch of stuff. Most notably for me, it contains some of the most recent Jughead Private Eye stories, which were written by Alex Simmons and drawn by Rex Lindsay. These ran in the Jughead book, I guess, 2 years ago now. They had a full 4 or 5 issue, not quite a story arc. They weren't run together, but they were a series of great Private Eye stories starring Jughead. And, of course, there are a lot of past material on that, and judging by the list of contributors, it looks like they're reaching back pretty far with those stories. And those are always fun. This is Jughead with the top hat and fedora, real noir-style written stories, but very, very tongue-in-cheek and super fun. Definitely worth your $3.99. So, those are your new releases for this past Wednesday, August 7th, this coming Wednesday, August the 14th, and your digital releases for the week from Archie Comics. Finally today, last week, I headed down to Boston Comic Con. This had been rescheduled from its earlier May dates due to the bombings at the Boston Marathon, and was rescheduled to the first weekend in August. And despite the cancellation back in May and the rescheduling and everything that had to go into place and be reorganized in a short period of time, they pulled everything together. It was a great show. There were lines around the building to get in on Saturday. And they boasted a huge guest list. The ticket prices were super reasonable. I would really recommend it if you're in the New England area. Definitely get yourself to Boston Comic Con next year. I was excited to get my copy of Stan Lee's Mighty 7 #1, signed by the artist Alex Saviuk when I was there. But I was most excited to meet Jeff Schultz, and he was kind enough to give me a few minutes of his time. All right, Jeff Schultz, how's your Boston Comic Con been going?
It's been going great so far.
We're wrapping up Saturday. Things are starting to clear out. It seems like it's been a really busy day here on the floor.
Yeah, it's a really big place, and it's been really crowded, and it's neat, seeing so many people here.
So we've seen your art on the most recent issues of Betty and Veronica, all the great fairy tale stories, and we've got a couple more coming up, right?
Yeah, Reggie Stiltskin. I don't know if the Little Mermaid's come out yet. You know?
Oh, man. Have you stumped us both? I don't think it has. That's got the Fiona Staples variant cover. I don't think we've seen that one yet. I think we've got that one, and then Reggie Stiltskin?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you... And that's being collected. That'll be coming out, I think this fall, maybe September, October. I've seen the solicit for that collection of all of those stories. What are you here promoting today?
Well, I don't know if you'd call it promoting.
Mm-hmm.
I bring a lot of my covers and pages, and we have a lot of fans come by, and they go through everything. I have stuff, that my own characters, that I've worked on, and it's neat, meeting all these people.
Yeah, we're standing at your table now. We've got some original art pages. We've got some sketches, some nice inked and painted pieces that you're selling. But what I wanted to talk about was also Hugo and the Bug. Is this a webcomic that you're doing? What is this?
Well, I came up with that a few years ago, and originally I wrote some children's stories. It was going to be like for children's books. It never happened. So I turned it into a newspaper strip. Well, that never happened. So the company that produces the Peanuts book, Boom Studios, they may put it out. I have a lot of my strips here. I think it's really funny.
So is there a site for that? Is there a place where we can look that up and check those out?
Oh, no, I don't have a website. I don't have anything up right now.
Okay, well, we'll be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, have you got more Betty and Veronica stuff coming up beyond Reggie Stillskin?
Yeah. I think they're set to send me a script probably in about another week. So I guess the Betty and Veronica will continue.
Yeah, I know that I'm personally a big fan of your work on Betty and Veronica going back, 12, 15 years now?
Yeah, I started in 2000. In 2000. It's April of 2000 on the Betty and Veronica book.
And it was nice. I mean, I've talked about a lot of the issues on the show, and it almost felt like a great homecoming when you came back to Betty and Veronica this year. It was a fun. It's always a good look when you're drawing those characters, I guess is the shorthand.
Oh, well, thanks. I was really glad to come back. And also, on the stories that I was doing, I think the first one was Rapunzel, the two Rapunzels. And that was really fun to work on. And then the second was Betty and the Beast, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And that was really neat, doing the characters, especially the Beast. So, those are really cool to get into.
Yeah, one of the things I like best about the Archie characters is that they're such strong archetypes that you're able to put them into lots of different situations and lots of different stories, and they really still shine. Which was really evident with Archie as the Beast, with the various Riverdale characters as the pots and pans and cups and things around them.
Yeah. Well, that was also neat to design those. I see. Jughead was like a coffee maker, I think he was. Miss Grundy was a vacuum cleaner. I forget the others, but it was really neat. Jughead was an old telephone. One of those old style that you crank. Yeah. So that was neat.
Cool. Well, we've been enjoying your work. I'm personally excited, and I know my listeners are excited to have more Betty and Veronica stories coming from you. Certainly, the fairy tale stories have been a lot of fun. I'm excited about further stories that bring everybody back to Riverdale. I'd love to see you back drawing Riverdale High, drawing Pop Tates, Chocolate Shop, all of that stuff. So I hope that's coming in the future. But thanks so much for being part of the show, and good luck with the rest of the convention.
All right, thanks a lot.
You guys, this has been a totally packed episode. Thanks so much to John Troughton for being a part of the show. Head over to johntroughton.blogspot.com. Check out his blog. Follow him on Twitter. He's a swell guy. I want to thank Jeff Schultz for being a part of the show. It was really great meeting him at Boston Comic Con. I hope that we'll be hearing more from him on the show in the future, and I hope that we'll be seeing more from him in the world of Archie. This is not the end of the episode. Check back in your feed or head over to RiverdalePodcast.com for the commemorative edition, the Riverdale Podcast number 75 and a half. That's a bunch of reviews of older issues that I did just as something fun. I know that folks over on the Facebook page have been mentioning that they love to hear about the old issues. So there are a bunch of old issues reviewed over on Riverdale Podcast number 75 and a half. I hope that you guys like it. It's certainly not required listening, but is one of the ways that I would like to say thank you for supporting the show through these 75 episodes. If you listen to the show every week and want to help us out, you can head over to RiverdalePodcast.com and click on any of those links. Head over, click on those Amazon links, and after you do so, anything you buy on Amazon will go to support the show. A lot of folks have been doing that, and it's really helping out. I really appreciate it. I could always use more. Everything you buy gives me a small percentage, and those little percentages add up over time. So thanks for everybody who's doing that. Thanks to everybody who's considering it. And it's a great way to support the show. Thanks. On the way out, I want to remind everyone to head over to RiverdalePodcast.com. There you will find links to like us on Facebook, follow the show on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes, have new episodes delivered to you every Saturday morning. Find out how to follow the show. Listen to the show on Stitcher through the Stitcher mobile app. You can head over to youtube.com/Riverdale, listen to new episodes there and past episodes. If you head over to RiverdalePodcast.com, you'll see a post for this week's episode with the great Dan Parent cover for Kevin Keller number 10. You will also find links to the news stories we discussed in the news portion of the show. And don't forget, we are now partnered with FirstComicsNews.com. Head over to FirstComicsNews.com for your comic news and various other podcasts. Thanks again for listening. All these 75 episodes, keeping the show going. You can send an email at RiverdalePodcast@yahoo.com. I'd love to hear from you. And that's going to do it for this week. Thanks so much for listening. Again, my name is Jonathan, and I'll see you again next week here in lovely Riverdale, USA.